WWE Vengeance 2004. Matt, that baby isn't yours. It's mine. I mean, what the dude? WWE 2004 is an absolute roller coaster. It's whiplash. There's like just enough good wrestling in there where it's like, okay, this is pretty good, but then it's like, okay, we're gonna fight for an unborn fetus, and oh hey, here's a mentally handicapped guy in the main event. It's a whole potpourri of nonsense. This era is. I mean, this show might have been good. It might have been bad. I don't really know. Let's figure it out right here on the Apron Bump Podcast.
And the hardest, talk around and disregard it. Strip you off the ground, show you what heart is. Standing strong and proud, nothing can knock this. Let's get started. Yeah, back.
What's up, everybody? Howdy, howdy, howdy. Welcome to the Apron Bump Podcast. I am your host, the hardest part of the ring, Kyle. How is everybody doing today? I'll tell you how I'm doing. Pretty annoyed because last night I was, as I do, as I'm notorious for, I was in the kitchen eating some Hershey Kisses, and I opened one up, put it in my mouth, pause. I put it in my mouth, started chewing on it, and then all of a sudden I hear this fucking crunch sound. And there were no almonds in this Hershey Kiss. I hear this crunch. That crunch was my fucking tongue in my tooth, my bottom tooth damn near going through my tongue. I don't know if I sound like I have a flap on my tongue right now, but I do. So if I sound like fucking Bugs Bunny or some shit, like, you know why. You know why. When we get to the actual episode here, that was beforehand. That was tooth. That's hard to say. Tooth through the tongue, that's pre quadruple T. This is post quadruple T. But speaking of triple T's, we got a Triple H on this show. I don't know. Vengeance 2004 is what we are here to talk about, ladies and gentlemen. Interesting show. Very interesting show. Not a bad show, though, I don't think. It's a Raw exclusive pay-per-view, which when I see that, I'm always like, uh-oh. What do we got going on here? It's gonna have a lot of Garrison Cade on this show, that's for sure. And there was, but well, not a lot, just enough, just a healthy dollop of Garrison Cade. But a surprisingly good show. I guess I'll say that, and we'll obviously talk about why that was in each of the matches. I mean, we got a classic Intercontinental Championship match between Edge and Randy Orton. In my opinion, this is the best match they ever had. Contrary to popular belief, contrary to the tagline of greatest match ever back in, 2020? I would say here in 2004, they had a better match, but I'll leave that up for you to decide. We'll talk about it. We got Chris Benoit versus Triple H in the main event, but that's really just a side story. The main story is Eugene. I don't remember Eugene being such a factor. My goodness, he's all over the place on this show. We got Batista here, Batista versus Jericho. We got the tag titles on the line. Eugene teaming with Ric Flair, but Eugene's also in the main event, and he's in different segments throughout the show. If you're a Eugene stan, you've tuned into the right recap because he's all over the place here. And then Kane versus Matt Hardy, which is a whole box of hammers that we are going to unload. Forced conception of children. And that pretty much covers it. That's pretty much what it is. But we'll get more into the weeds, obviously. Probably too much into the weeds. And by the way, if you enjoy this era, this wacky era of WWE, where there's a lot of good, but also a lot of bad, feel free to check out the link in the description or go to apronbump.com, go to the episodes tab and select whatever timeline or era you'd like to hear me gallivant about. And you can select WWE Ruthless Aggression era. And that'll bring you to all of the RA era shows that I've covered, starting from the very beginning. I think actually Vengeance 02 is really where it begins. So Vengeance to Vengeance to Vengeance. I've covered 3 RA Vengeances. as well as every show in between. So if you want to chronologically relive this era of wrestling, feel free to check that out. And wherever you listen to podcasts, of course, as well as YouTube. Yeah, do that. It's a fun old time. We have a lot of fun over here, but not too much fun though. My tongue hurts. I don't know if you could see it, huh? It's like under my tongue. It's hard to like. This is probably horrible ASMR, by the way, right now. I also can't control my tongue very well. It's another flaw in me. I go to the dentist and they're like, "Put your tongue up," and I'm like, "Don't know how to do that." And then I just wiggle it around, and they have to like pry it down with a clamp, and it's a fucking whole thing. And I'm a disaster. But anyways, what were we talking about? Oh, that's right, Vengeance 04. Whatever the case is, I'm excited to talk about this show with my good buddy Mark from Booking Like a Mark. Go check out the Booking Like a Mark podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. Mark does a ton of good work. He has a new season of Booking Like a Mark coming out. He basically rebooks different storylines, PLEs over the years. Does a lot of really creative stuff. A lot of fun. If you enjoy like the what if videos that I've been posting a lot on TikTok and stuff, you'll enjoy what Mark has to offer. So go check him out wherever you listen to podcasts. I'll put all of his socials and stuff in the description as well. Go check him out. Give him a subscribe, a like, a poke, a kiss on the cheek. Do all of that for him. Do all of that for me as well while you're down there at Apron Bump on all the social medias. Have been really chugging along on YouTube recently, doing a lot of YouTube exclusive stuff. So go check that out if you have not already. Subscribe. I'm done plugging. Oh, join the Discord as well. Now I'm done plugging. I don't want to plug too much. You might have a vengeance on me. Fuck. Wow, that's a lot of fun humor. That's just good family fun right there. Just to prime you up for the episode coming your way. Ahura. WWE. Vengeance. Ahura? Is Ahura now? Hold on. That's messing me up here. Ahura in Spanish. Ahura. Now. At this moment or now. Look at me. Bilingual. I'm by a lot of things, but lingual ain't one of them. WWE Vengeance 2004. With myself and Mark from Booking Like a Mark.
Oh, yeah. So it was my first pay-per-view. My sister's boyfriend took me because my brother was going to Europe. And so my sister's boyfriend felt bad. And when I was a wrestling fan, he said, "Since you're not going to Europe with your school trip, I'll take you to Vengeance." So he bought me the t-shirt. He bought me the program. And he even bought me the Divas issue, which my parents did not know about, but I enjoyed.
Ooh, what's better, Europe or Hartford, Connecticut?
Europe.
I don't know. Hartford's got Walmart, I think, right?
Well, yeah, because New Haven's got the pizza in Connecticut, and Bridgeport has the crime. So what does Hartford have?
Sure. So you're from Connecticut, right?
Correct. Yep. I'm closer to Bridgeport. I went down over from that. So.
Gotcha. Pizza in Connecticut? Is that I guess it's kind of northeast, right?
Actually, supposedly we're the pizza capital of the United States. So.
According to who? According to a Connecticut survey?
According to a lot of Dave Portnoy, when he does the One Bite Challenge, he loves
ESPN saying it, Sports Illustrated saying it. It's not just me; it's everybody. I get it. I hear you.
The weird thing is, I don't like New Haven style pizza. It's not for everyone.
Favorite kind of pizza? Go.
Anchovy.
All right, Mark. Well, it's been nice having you. We'll do this next time. And all right. Anyways, where's the end of this fucking recording button?
I will be back for Vengeance.
Just when I thought you lost me, you pull me. I mean, folks. Oh man, that's good stuff. This is why I bring you on. It's those gems.
Thank you. I needed this. The first week of the year, literally the first Monday, 20 minutes into my shift, supervisor pulls me aside, brings me in the conference room, CEO and head of HR, they lay me off. So this is giving me something to look forward to start my year a little bit. So
God, I guess I gotta pay a little more then. Well, I guess we'll
Mhm.
figure that offline. It's already a hefty sum, but geez Louise.
Hmm.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that, but at least you still have, Eugene will never leave you, right?
True. Eugene. He was the star of the show.
Genuinely. I mean, we'll get into it, but man, what a wild time. I mean, 2004 WWE in general is wacky. Raw is definitely something else. Were you a Raw or a Smack? Because the show we're about to talk about today, for those unfamiliar, is a Raw exclusive pay-per-view. And but yeah, were you a Raw or a SmackDown guy?
I was a SmackDown guy, but just out of necessity. We didn't have cable, so I couldn't watch Raw, but I could watch SmackDown on, I think at that time it was Thursday nights. So I was naturally a SmackDown guy, but when Raw comes to town, you go see Raw.
Yeah, I mean it's I mean at this point in time, what were we? This is July, I think, of 04.
Mhm.
I would say Raw is probably better than SmackDown. I mean, I don't know how much you
Yeah.
could like put yourself back in that time, but I mean, where were you at as far as like? I mean, I guess you were just watching SmackDown, but going back,
I was
like
aware.
in hindsight,
There was they used to have, I think it was the Bottom Line on Saturday mornings, and it was like a
Sure.
1 hour recap show of Raw. So I was in the know on what happened on Raw, but I mean, for SmackDown, you just covered the Great American Bash last time, which you had the unfortunate privilege of going to. And SmackDown
yeah,
had
well,
like
back to back
storylines.
live attendees here. Look at that.
Exactly.
Look at that.
Yep.
We're
So
boots on the ground.
yes,
Talking about
live
ruthless
reporting.
aggression. But yeah, man, Vengeance 04. I don't know if you got a chance to watch it back, but I did. And it was a lot better show than I remember it being. The crowd was like, you guys were hot. I'll say
Yes.
that. I'm not just saying that because you're here, but I don't really consider, when I think of Hartford, Connecticut, I'm not like, oh, what a great wrestling town. I usually think of WrestleMania 11, unfortunately. But
Yeah.
this is a pretty fun show, especially for a Raw branded pay-per-view. I don't know, overall thoughts on this program?
I liked it because there was a lot of story to it. So obviously Eugene was the through line throughout everything, but Evolution all had matches, which was rare at the time. Usually you'd get Batista or Orton with Flair in their corner, but we had all four members competing. We were missing Shawn Michaels and we're missing Shelton Benjamin, which is weird because you think of 04, you think of the rise of Shelton. In the summer, he wasn't doing anything. He didn't really pick up again until Taboo Tuesday. But I really liked it because it was story heavy and it kept me invested as a 13-year-old and even rewatching now as a 35-year-old.
Yeah, no, it was definitely like, I mean, some of it doesn't age particularly well. I mean, a lot of this is like, I don't know if you've seen that South Park episode where they make fun of wrestling, but a lot of this is very in line with, you're gonna have my baby. No, that's my baby. No, it's like a lot of that. I mean, literally, that's what a lot of this is.
Yes.
So it's very to the extreme, a lot of these stories, but again, to your point, like it keeps you engaged. There's a reason for things happening, and there's also some pretty good wrestling on this show. So yeah, ultimately a pretty good event, I would say. And I mean, just even like out the video package, like it was a pretty simple video package highlighting the Chris Benoit Triple H storyline that is going to be main eventing. But man, I was watching this, I was like, oh, we got the dramatic music, we got, the hard quick cuts of each guy beating each other up and their highlights, and then like the voiceover of their story from each guy, and then it's the pyro, and then we're off to the races. And I'm just thinking like, man, nowadays it just kind of like it's a slow fade into like the drone shot of the arena and people pretending to arrive. It's like, where do you stand on, I guess, that like the I guess sports centric presentation versus what we got here?
I've actually been thinking about that a lot recently because I find that I'm not nearly as invested in current WWE. And I think a big reason is because it's so sports based. Everything, the veil has been removed. You're not going to get storylines now like Eugene, like Kane with Lita having his baby. None of that would exist in today's world because it's too realistic. And I love wrestling for the storytelling. It's the male soap opera, they used to call it, right? You don't get that now. Oh, we had a great promo between Roman Reigns and CM Punk announcing the WrestleMania main event. Pure cinema, as they say. But so much of the other stuff is just like, oh, here's them walking into the arena. Oh, here are the fans. this match is sponsored, this match is sponsored. And there's no time for the stories to breathe because of it, you know?
Right. Jelly rolls ringside or sponsored by Clash of Clans. It's like, dude, like even like the silly shit with like the backstage segments with Evolution and Eugene. Like you said, it's a through line. It connects all the stories. It builds to the main event. Like these little things, they seem insignificant on their own, but I truly believe they matter. And I'm with you, man. I'm with you. Hopefully we stray away from, because pro wrestling, it's not a fucking sport. So like, can we just like lean into what it is, which like you said, male soap opera. Lean into that. Don't lean into your weakness. Lean into your strength. But who am I? Who am I?
During this time period, that's what I really liked. So you had Raw and SmackDown, and they felt different. You know, Raw was more soap opera and more story, but SmackDown was all about the athleticism, right? You think of the SmackDown 6 shortly before this period, and it was all about the in-ring stuff. Raw was about the behind-the-scenes stuff. They had different feel. You had the announcers for Raw were up by the stage, SmackDown at ringside. And so you could have more of a sports-based show and more of a soap opera type show. And I don't understand why we can't strike that balance today. Like, why is everything so cookie cutter?
Exactly. I think what we need today is more Jonathan Coachman. Speaking of which,
yes,
look, I mean, nothing sets the tone for a pay-per-view that you paid $50 or $60 for. Nothing sets the tone like the first people coming out being Garrison Cade and Jonathan Coachman. Cinema. That, Marcus, is cinema.
Yes. Especially because this match was announced on Heat. So if you got there late, you would have no idea it was on the card. And this is the first match that you're seeing. And you have no idea why this tag match is even taking place or why Rhino is Tajiri's partner.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you watched the Heat before this. I did not. So I was also surprised to see this match.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Tajiri and Coach had a one-on-one match. I think it was Backlash, maybe.
Yes.
Or one of the pay-per-views a couple months ago. And I guess they're still kind of building on that. I don't know. But Garrison Cade. So Cade was teaming with Mark Jindrak. Jindrak went to SmackDown. Now he's the reflection of perfection. And now Garrison Cade's here, I guess, just to be Jonathan Coachman's lackey of sorts. And Coach still has beef with Tajiri. So Coach is, I get from what I gathered, was like, Tajiri, me and Garrison are going to beat you up tonight unless you can find a partner. And then everybody comes out. Tajiri comes out. Who's his partner? Oh, it's the War Machine, the Man Beast, Rhino. And so just to lay out what this match is. Garrison Cade and Jonathan Coachman versus 2004 Rhino and 2004 Tajiri. This looks like a recipe for disaster. However, I kind of liked it. This is like a weirdly good match for some reason.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was so entertaining as a way to start the show. And again, it's a story-based match. Like, you're not going to see the coach with the most athletic moves. But he actually, by my research, had 24 matches in 2004. So he was getting his reps. Of course. And a lot of that was on house shows working with Eugene, but that's okay. Still practice. And it was so much fun, especially the finish. Coach being a little chicken shit, moves out of the way of the gore. Cade got the mist in the eyes, so he doesn't see it coming. Boom. Fast finish. And the match leading up to it was good too, you know? It was exactly what you thought it would be. Coach kind of, if there's the advantage, he'll tag in. If not, he runs away. That's what Cade is for. And it was exactly what you thought it would be. 2 stars out of 5. Decent.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was like a perfect opening match where it's not like too much. It gives you everything. Look, you have these people. You want to see a mist, you want to see a tarantula, you want to see a gore, and you want to see Jonathan Coachman get his ass kicked. In like whatever this was, like 6 minutes or so, they accomplished all of that. I thought Rhino actually in particular stuck out. He felt hungry to me, like, because he hasn't been on TV a lot. He's been lost in the shuffle, so this felt like him like trying to prove himself. Garrison Cade kind of in a similar vein, like he's a young and hungry dude. So you had a lot of people going at it here. Tajiri's always a fun treat to see, and Coach is Coach, but he played his role well here, like you said, just trying to be the chicken shit that he was. And Tajiri, like you said, I do love Cade. You know, or Tajiri goes to mist Coach, but Coach ducks, and then Cade gets the mist, and then Rhino goes to gore Coach, but then Coach moves, and then Cade gets gore. So Garrison's getting all this offense in because Coach is getting out of the way, and you think Coach is a home free, but then Tajiri with a roundhouse kick to the back of Coach's head, fun sell, and that gives Tajiri the win with Rhino. So Team ECW, I guess, gets the win. Yeah, nothing too crazy, nothing that we're gonna remember in years and years from now. But watching the show, this set the tone for the show, I thought.
Right, and it was slightly based on the segment of the musical chairs from Raw the week before, with Tajiri misting Coach. I think we should mention that classic musical chairs segment. Actually, probably the highlight of Eugene's run.
It was a good one. It was for I think it was like for an intercontinental title shot because Bischoff was off 1 week, so he put his nephew Eugene in place as the general manager for a week, and that's how he determined an IC champ or a title contender. And you have like Tomko and Jericho and Jerry Lawler and Stacy Keibler, like these hodgepodge of people. It was fun. We'll talk more about Eugene here in a little bit, but
definitely.
Maybe here now because we're back in Evolution's locker room after that match. We got all three except Triple H in there. They're all scuttling. They're all scuttlebutting in the corner. Triple H walks in. Evolution's like, "Yo, Trips, what's the deal with Eugene, man?" Because on Raw, Triple H made Eugene an honorary member of Evolution, and essentially the story is that Triple H is trying to manipulate Eugene, who is very easily manipulatable, trying to use him to regain his World Heavyweight Championship, another number in his army, I guess. But the rest of Evolution's like, dude, this guy's he's ruining our gimmick. Like, he doesn't fit in. He's making us look like buffoons. And then Trips like, don't worry. Once I get this title back, he's gonna he would have outlived his usefulness, and we'll take him out. Triple H walks in, and they can't find Eugene. Where's Eugene? Who was watching him? And I like Batista in the corner is like, I was watching him all week. I don't know. It wasn't my turn to watch him. It's like in canon, like Batista's like at home with Eugene, who's like playing with blocks or whatever he does. I don't know. But Trips leaves, and he's trying to find Eugene, turns the corner, conveniently right outside the locker room, and he sees Eugene talking to Chris Benoit in the hallway. Triple H behind the corner listens in, and then Benoit's talking to Eugene. He's like, Triple H, he's trying to use you, Eugene. He's not your friend. He doesn't like you. He's just trying to use you. And then he's distraught. He doesn't know what to think. But Benoit's just like, be careful, Eugene. That's all I'm going to say. And I guess we'll get a follow-up later in the show. But again, just kind of another thread throughout the show of where does Eugene's allegiance lie. So a silly little segment, but I liked it for what it was, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, from a live crowd, you couldn't really understand what was going on because the audio wasn't that great. You know, the Evolution part, the microphone is right there. But then later on, when we're peeking on Benoit talking to Eugene, in the crowd, we had no idea what was said. If you knew the story, you could kind of tell what he was saying, but we had no idea what the actual words were.
Yeah, like you said, like if you have been following, you can kind of capture like what's going on, even if you're not hearing it. But before we get more into that, we got a little Chris Jericho versus Batista. I mean, Batista in 04. I mean, is there more of a cooler looking fucking wrestler than Batista?
Right. In the age, you have Tomko, you have Luther Reigns, you have all these big guys, but the one who stands out is Dave Batista, and that's why he became a star.
He has charisma. It's not like he's not great on the mic, but he has charisma. Like he doesn't need to talk into a mic to show it off. Like he just has this like I don't like saying aura, but he has an aura about him. And then facing off against Chris Jericho, which I always consider this era of Jericho to be like one of his more down periods because he's just kind of like another baby face, kind of almost more like similar to like 96 WCW Chris Jericho, like just happy to be here guy. But you guys in Hartford were hot for Jericho, so maybe something's working with him. So I don't know. What are your thoughts on that as far as this period of Jericho?
I don't remember him being as hot as it sounded when I went back and rewatched it. But you got to remember, he was no disrespect to Chris Benoit, but Chris Benoit wasn't as over probably as he should have been. And you'll get that definitely later on when you actually have Eugene come out and the pop that Eugene, this, comedy character, gets above your world champion. And then if you've got Benoit supposed to be the top face, then you've got Edge, and then you've probably got Jericho. So Jericho is supposed to be high up on the food chain. But you're right. Yeah. Once Christian got hurt and they didn't really have anything for him, they moved him away from Tomko. It was like, what do you do with him? IC title picture, because you've got Edge there, Jericho is in the back burner. He'll come back for SummerSlam and then Unforgiven. But we're in that lull period where he's just kind of waiting for a story.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. Christian being injured definitely threw a monkey wrench in there. But speaking of wrenches, Batista hit him with a wrench on Raw. He, from what I gathered, legitimately knocked Chris Jericho out in a tag team match with a clothesline. I don't know if you have any more insight on that, because I looked around. There was like some differing takes on it, but because it was Batista and Randy Orton versus Edge and Chris Jericho. There's a point in the match. It's an elimination match also. There's a point where Batista lariats Jericho and then he can't continue. And then they have this like kind of weird, awkward finish to the match where they just like anticlimactically pin Edge. And then they just do the same match the next week. So to me, it feels like it was a shoot knockout. I don't know if you remember that at all.
I vaguely remember that. But the problem is that was the period where we still had a little bit of that veil. And Chris Jericho is so good at selling that there's always that little bit. It's like when you talk about the mitral screw job, you just handled that in another timeline. It's believable that it could have really happened, but it's also believable that it was just a really well-told story.
Could be. It's very possible. It's also the fact that it was elimination. Like, they didn't really do elimination tag team matches. Maybe that kind of, I don't know. It got me. Hopefully it got me. I don't mind being worked. But that's kind of the foundation for this feud here. Jericho wants revenge. Batista also cost Jericho because Jericho won musical chairs and earned himself the IC title match against Orton, but then Batista cost him that match, so that's why we're here. Dude, I mean, this was so. Just to sum up what this was, crowd was hot for Jericho. Batista looked like a monster. When you have just those two things, like, this is going to be a good match. And I thought this was pretty solid. Interesting finish. I don't know. What'd you think about this?
By my math, I think this is actually, Batista didn't have a lot of singles pay-per-view matches. I think this is the first one that he didn't have Flair in his corner. And I think that really helped him shine more, because classically you've got Flair, he's a big presence at ringside. And a lot of the story goes, Jerry Lawler's, what's Nate up to? But this, you could really focus in on Batista. He was the star beating down on Jericho. And I think that really helped the presentation of the match. I'm with you. The finish was kind of weird, and I don't know why we needed it. We didn't need to protect Jericho if we're trying to make Batista look like an animal. Just have him beat him with that powerbomb and then move on. But we had to keep the storyline going, and I think that would probably be the only finish, looking back, that I probably would have done differently.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. And I was watching this. I was like, man, were the acoustics just better back here, or does Batista have the best spine buster of all time?
Oh, definitely the best. Oh my God, that was beautiful. And he had 2 of them, I think, in this match.
Dude, do 20 of them for all I care. I would watch that all day. Like, the way he, it's just the rhythm of it and the fact that he hits it and then bounces up with it. It's just perfect.
Right. So the way he bounces back makes the move itself more impactful somehow. It's like a trampoline. Yeah. We're like, damn, he hit that.
Oof. And that is not a trampoline in there. So I can only imagine the impact of that bad boy. Mm-hmm. But it's good stuff here. Batista's beating up on Jericho for most of this match. Jericho fights back, makes his comeback, goes for the lion salt. Batista gets the knees up. Batista then loads up for that lariat that knocked out Jericho on Raw, but then Jericho ducks it this time, hits the enziguri for a 2 count, and then ultimately Batista hits another huge spine buster, Batista bomb, goes for the pin, but Jericho gets his foot on the ropes, but the ref doesn't see it. By God. Ref, or the Batista swipes the foot off the rope before the ref can see it. Commentary is completely oblivious. I don't know if they're playing dumb or if they just are dumb. But I will say though, the camera work of this was very good because he goes for this pin where you can't really see the foot on the rope until like 2.5. So it's like, oh shit, like right at the end. So but yeah, again, to your point, like why do we need to Batista? He's a monster. Just have him beat Jericho. Who cares? Jericho, he's not going to be killed by losing to this behemoth. So I don't know.
And this is almost a shot-for-shot redoing of Backlash 2002, when it was Undertaker and Stone Cold and Ric Flair was the ref. Undertaker gets the win. Flair didn't see the foot, and so Undertaker moves it. The difference there is that it led to the Austin-Flair feud, so it was fuel to keep that going now. But this, again, I don't see why they needed to do it.
Yeah, it is. I do appreciate like at least Batista not looking like an idiot here. Like a lot of times you'll have this, and then the guy won't like knock the foot off, or they'll be like, "Oh, I won," and then the ref will see it. So there is a bit of logic here, I guess. But again, yeah, to your point, could have just had him beat him in the middle of the ring. But Batista gets a big win here, nonetheless, over Jericho, and it's incredible. Like he still doesn't feel like he's going to be main eventing WrestleMania in a few months, but he is. It's wild
That's
how
the weird
quick
thing.
that.
Yeah, it's just like if you look right now, if I had to compare it to something modern, we had the big John Cena retirement tour. And we didn't really notice, but in the background, we were having the quieter AJ Styles retirement tour, which now at the Royal Rumble finished up. And that's exactly what happened, especially with this show. We know Randy Orton is a future world champion. They have told us that. They have driven it right into our face. You know, he is the future. But in the background, we were setting Batista up. He's getting this win here. Once Orton moves up to the world title picture, next pay-per-view SummerSlam, Batista slotted into an Intercontinental title match. So in the background, we were kind of telling the Batista story, but we were so focused with what they were doing over here with Orton, we didn't see what they were doing here with Batista. And I didn't pick up on that until I rewatched this pay-per-view.
Yeah. I would say this match is in a lot of ways a coming out party for Batista. Like you said, it's his first match without Flair. He feels like a star, Batista does, and only a matter of time. But after Batista wins, Evolution, of course, is watching in their locker room. They celebrate Batista's win. But then Eugene walks in, the 5th member of Evolution. And Randy Orton's like, fuck this, I'm out of here. So it's just Nate and Triple H. Eugene says he talked to Benoit, and Triple H, who heard him talk to Benoit, so of course he knows the entire conversation. He's basically like, oh, let me guess, Benoit said this. And then he keeps saying it like verbatim what Benoit was saying. And then Trips is reassuring Eugene that don't worry, we're with you. You know, Benoit doesn't like you. Remember when he hit you with a chair on Raw? It was an accident, but remember when he hit you with a chair? He wants to hurt you, Eugene. And then Eugene is like, oh yeah, you're right, good point. And then Trips, just in case that wasn't enough, it's like, we have a huge surprise for you. Flair begrudgingly walks off screen and grabs a second Ric Flair robe for Eugene to wear. Now you might be asking, why does Eugene need a Ric Flair robe? Well, because him and Ric Flair are teaming up to challenge for the tag team titles against La Resistance. I mean, I'm just looking at the names in this match. La Resistance. So we have Rob Conway and Sylvain Grenier versus Eugene and Ric Flair. What a contest. There was a lot I liked about it, though, I will say. What do you think about this one, though?
This actually, I did not remember how much fun I had until I rewatched this match. And it's not even because of Eugene, it's because of Ric Flair. He is the perfect straight man in this match to the comedy of Eugene. And the fact that Flair can participate and be the way he was, it allowed us as an audience to know he's in on the joke, and we can laugh at Eugene doing literally almost every single Ric Flair move, except being thrown off the top rope, missing a move. But other than that, almost his whole moveset of the actual match, because the stunner and everything else was later. The actual match, it was Eugene Flair, and he was doing the woo, he was doing the strut. It was honestly, and I'm embarrassed to say this, looking back, it might be my match of the night.
I mean, it might be the most fun match, like second for second, pound for pound, maybe the most fun match of the night. I can't get too mad at it.
And the pop when Eugene came out, you've got Flair making his entrance, and then you see Eugene behind him with the robe. And I remember that crowd popping. Eugene, I look back and I think it was such a stupid character. And then I watched this event. He was over. He was truly over.
Dude.
We enjoyed him. I don't know why.
Eugene debuted as this like undercard comedy act, like, I don't know, 2 or 3 months before this.
Mhm.
Now he is the centerpiece of the world title feud. He is the most over act on Raw by far, maybe in WWE at this point. I forgot how like big of a deal he was. To me, like my memory is like, oh, it's a silly gimmick, whatever he did. He had a cape at some point or something. He is running the goddamn show. He was the GM. He's in the world title feud. He's fighting for the tag team titles. He's in all the backstage segments. And like, people hate the Eugene character, which I understand. Like, especially looking back, a lot of it's very insensitive. It's like a caricature of that type of person, and I get it. However, that being said, I thought it was very well done in terms of like using that to create sympathy, because we have people trying to take advantage of him, and then you have the baby faces trying to defend him, but then Eugene gets in the ring and he has like these natural instincts of wrestling. So like he's like goofy outside of the ring. He's playing with action figures, but then he gets it, that bell rings, and he's so like technically sound. Like he's doing the Ric Flair stuff, like the hammer locks and the drop toe holds, the chops, and it all looks crisp. The eye pokes, all that silly shit. Like he's like truly a fan. Like they have that background on him. I enjoyed the Eugene character for what it was. I don't think we need to have it back. But in 2004, looking back on it, I think I've grown an appreciation of it. Where do you stand on that?
Yeah. So in preparation for this, not only did I watch this event, but I had some free time and I listened to Jim Ross's Grill and JR podcast about this pay-per-view and Bruce Pritchard's Something to Wrestle With. And the two of them had such contrasting views on the Eugene character. And JR absolutely hated him. He thought it was completely overexposed. Why is this guy in almost every segment of the show? And then you've got Bruce Pritchard, who's like, no, he wasn't special needs. What are you talking about? He was just this great comedy character that everyone loved. And I'm like, I think the truth is somewhere.
That sounds like a Bruce Pritchard answer.
Right, exactly. That was my first thought when he said that. I was like, yeah, he wasn't. You're right. You know better than us.
Sure.
But now looking back, I was not a fan at the time. I did think it was a little bit goofy. But like I said, rewatching it now and just seeing the way it brought out different aspects of other characters, right? We already knew Triple H was the cerebral assassin, but the Eugene character allowed him to be the master manipulator again, which later on played into his, manipulating Batista and Orton as we kind of broke down Evolution in the next couple of months. We had, like I said, in the actual match itself, it brought up this great intensity of Flair and this great straight man to a comedy character. And even Chris Benoit, his world title reign was all about the wrestling. Chris Benoit is for real. And here was an actual story where Benoit had to do more acting and more talking and promo work and character work. And I thought it actually brought out a new level of Benoit's title reign in addition to Eugene's character work on his own.
Yeah, it gave Benoit like a layer of like relatability, because it's like, okay, it's this intense dude, this jacked hobbit doing chops and headbutts. Like, all right, what else is there? And then now, again, like he's trying to befriend Eugene. He's trying to steer him straight. He's trying to save him from Triple H's manipulation. Yep. Like a lot of it's very simple, but it's effective. And like you said, it gives Benoit something to kind of latch on to. It gives him a voice. It gives him like an identifiable characteristic. And so I thought Eugene did a lot of good things for the entire roster, I would say. Mm-hmm. Even like Coach, like the goofy segments with Coach, like people love seeing Coach get his comeuppance or whatever. So
William Regal, right? Think of the depth it gave William Regal, as now all of a sudden he's this fatherly figure. We're taking him seriously again, and we care about William Regal when he's fighting with Triple H throughout the Eugene feud. And it breaks your heart when Eugene picks Evolution over William Regal. That shouldn't tear at your heartstrings, and yet it does, because they're all doing such a good job with their character work.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you brought that up. The William Regal stuff is probably the best stuff because William, he just wanted his job back. So he's like, I'll do anything for you, Eric. And then Eric's like, you babysit Eugene. And then Regal at first is like, oh, this is bullshit. I'm a wrestler. I'm not a babysitter. But then over time, he grows a fondness for Eugene. And it's like so natural and organic. And they're doing like the training videos and whatever. And it's just good stuff. And then this match here, this tag match, it's for the tag team titles, but it's a lot of silly stuff. Like you mentioned, you have Eugene he's basically a Ric Flair mimic. He's doing all of his sequences and he's strutting and, doing all like he gets in the ring when the ref puts the rope down for Ric Flair to get in. Eugene like swipes in front of him and, oh, thanks, ref. Yep. And by the way, like in hard cam, like at the top of hard cam, like the whole row, there's this big ass woo, like a consecutive sign, which was perfect. Like, when Ric Flair gets in and it just pans out to the woo, like all across the screen, it's like, this is fucking wrestling, dude. Mm-hmm. But then, I mean, props to a lot of resistance here. I mean, good heels. They come out, they do like, before all of this, they do the Canadian national anthem, which is always a heat magnet for some reason. I guess I don't know why we hated Canadians so much back then, but
we didn't hate them. We just knew they hated us. And so we were booing their hatred of us.
That's fair.
That's it.
That's fair. So we don't take accountability. we don't be less hateable. We just boo you for hating us. I get it.
You forget this is the United States of 2004. I don't want to get too political, but yeah, that was the climate.
Yeah. More things change, more they stay the same. But anyways, match is happening here, and then at some point, the Flair gets in, to a huge ovation from the crowd, and Flair's doing all of his class. Of course, the chops, doing out some suplexes, doing all the strutting. And the Canadians, they turn the tables. They start controlling Ric Flair. They're beating on him, and then Flair is trying to go tag Eugene in, but then Sylvain rips Eugene off the apron, runs him into the steps, and then when Eugene recovers, there's another layer to Eugene. When he has like this rage, which it's like, again, might not be very sensitive to have that kind of rage. It's like a South Park character. I think it wasn't there like a mentally handicapped guy who like was like a superpower. But whatever. Eugene is like incensed. He gets in the ring. He's shitting on everybody, rights and lefts, and he's just throwing everybody out of the ring. He's got one of the guys in the corner. I think it's Rob Conway, beating on him. The ref counts to 5. He's like, all right, Eugene, back off. And then Eugene shoves the ref, gives Sylvain a stone cold stunner, gives Rob Conway a rock bottom and a people's elbow. But the ref rings the bell because he got shoved and DQs Eugene and Ric Flair. Not too crazy about the DQ finish here on a pay-per-view, but I think it made sense for the story here. It's like, do we really need Eugene and Ric Flair to be tag team champions? Well, maybe, actually, now I'm saying it. Because we're not going to get an actual tag division, so might as well, right?
Well, I was just thinking of that, actually, because you're in this timeline. At WrestleMania, they had a fatal 4-way for the World Tag Team titles. I can't remember what happened at Backlash, but I'm pretty sure Bad Blood was La Resistance versus Benoit and Edge. And that match ended in DQ because Kane attacked Benoit.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's like it's Benoit and Edge. Like, it's not a real tag team. You know what I mean?
And so, again, there was no tag division all of a sudden after the draft in 2004.
Mm-hmm. I think literally it's Hurricane and Rosie. Mm-hmm. And then that's it. That's all I can think of.
Well, see, if Christian didn't get hurt, maybe you would have had Christian and Tom go in that division. And that could have definitely helped elevate it.
Okay. Yeah. Bashams aren't here yet, right? Oh, they're on SmackDown.
They're on SmackDown, yep.
SmackDown doesn't really have a tag division either. It is WWE, though, so it all makes sense.
At WrestleMania, we had 2 Fatal 4-Ways. There were 8 teams fighting for tag team titles. And here we are a couple months later. There are no tag teams. APA, broken up. JBL is the main character now. World's Greatest Tag Team, broken up. Shelton's doing his own thing. Charlie Haas will end up with Rico. The Dudley Boys, they're still a tag team, but they're on SmackDown now. So, like, it's just classic WWE.
Even that, they're like in handicap matches on pay-per-views. They're not in tag team matches.
Mm-hmm, exactly. I think on SmackDown, you also, around this time, have Billy Kidman and Paul London come together. And that was a pretty good tag team.
But then they're going to break up and feud. It's like, we can't just have guys stick together.
That was it, yeah.
Oh man, that could be a whole other episode in itself. But whatever. La Resistance retains via DQ. But as if it couldn't get any crazier, we got Matt Hardy versus Kane. No DQ.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, is this the most insane storyline of all time?
So first, I need to take a moment, just a moment of silence.
Please.
Light a candle. The last time I was on this show with you, gracing your beautiful screen, we talked about Survivor Series 2003. Kane was, pun intended, the hottest heel in the company. He beat
fire because he's about fire, right? Right?
Yeah. So he beats Shane in the ambulance match. He buries the Undertaker a lot. Now you look at the other top heels at Survivor Series. Triple H lost to Goldberg again. Lesnar tapped out in the Survivor Series match. So when I say Kane was like the top heel, I mean it. He really was like built very well. Then we look at it. Armageddon the next month. He loses in the triple threat for the world championship. The Royal Rumble, he gets eliminated because he gets distracted by Undertaker's gone. That's all well and good, but it's Kane in a Royal Rumble, and he got 0 eliminations. The hottest heel, 0 eliminations. We go to WrestleMania. He faces The Undertaker, loses in 7 minutes in what's pretty much a glorified squash match because Undertaker just kind of brushed off any offense Kane had. Then, in rapid succession, Backlash, he loses to Edge. Bad Blood, he loses to Chris Benoit. Vengeance here, he loses to Matt Hardy. And we have completely neutered Kane. He went from the hottest heel to this BS storyline out of the title picture, and it doesn't get any better. You're going to come upon SummerSlam. He'll get his win back here. Congratulations. Then he loses to Shawn Michaels at Unforgiven, loses to Gene Snitsky at Taboo Tuesday, and gets written off to go film See No Evil. What the frig happened to Kane?
Which, to be fair, great movie. If this all gives us See No Evil, which do I even... I have it on DVD somewhere. I don't know if it's on my bookcase, but it's maybe it's not actually. Maybe I should do a rewatch of that. Maybe I should. That could be a recap.
There you go.
But yeah, no, I agree 100%. I mean, that was one of my notes. It's like, is Kane losing too much? Because on top of all those that you just listed, he also lost to Benoit on a rematch on Raw.
Right. They protected him at Bad Blood because Benoit got the roll up, and then they had a separate match where Benoit did make him tap out with the crossface, and Benoit could only win by submission, just to neuter him even more. He's tapping out.
Yeah, it's I'm trying to be like devil's advocate, devil's favorite demon advocate. And being like, well, maybe wins and losses don't matter for this like extreme character. But then we know in hindsight, he would go on, he would just like taper off, and eventually he would just find himself in this perennial, like kind of like not a world champion guy, but still like a credible monster sometimes, but like maybe like a tag team champion sometimes. He loses a lot of his character over time, and it just becomes like big bald guy. So yeah, it all kind of led to him losing that credibility and that heat that he had, like you mentioned, Survivor Series 03. I mean, he was carrying Raw on his back in 03, and that could have continued. I don't see why he couldn't just throw the strap on him. I mean, he was a monster, and like this type of it's just. I mean, he's this demon. He's a demon from hell. He was set on fire. He's burned people alive. Several. He's buried people alive. He's massacred people's genitalia. He's tried to murder people, and now he just wants a baby. Now he just wants to be a father, which it is kind of eerie and sadistic. And there's part of me that's like, okay, look, I can't condone what he did, which was rape Lita and got her pregnant. I can't condone it. No way am I saying that I'm pro-rape. However, I do appreciate the sadistic nature of this storyline because basically, I should probably fill people in if they're not familiar. That was a hard intro to the story. But Matt Hardy and Lita, of course, they've been kind of on and off again, whatever. But they've rekindled, their relationship, at least on screen. And then Matt and Lita, they're together. And then I forget what exactly happened. Kane asked Lita something, which we weren't privy to what he asked her. But she says no. And then Kane's like, well, I don't take no for an answer. So he's beating up on Matt Hardy in the ring. He's got the chair wrapped around his neck, prepared to stomp on it, which is what took out Shawn Michaels, which is why he's not on this show. Mm-hmm. He's prepared to do the same thing to Matt Hardy. And then Lita comes out to try to save him. And is like, all right, Kane, yes, I'll do it. Again, we still don't know what this means. Kane's like, he relents. He's like, all right. So like a week or two goes by. There's a goofy segment where Lita, she's like taking a pregnancy test, and then like Stacy Keibler walks in, and then she like throws it in the trash. She's like, oh, no, we're fine. Then it's like the next week, she's like, oh, I'm pregnant. And then we're all led to believe, oh, Matt got her pregnant. Yay, Team Extreme. Next generation. We're having fun. But then Lita has this air of like, oh, yeah, sure. And then Matt finds out from Stacy Keibler that she's pregnant. So Matt plans to propose to Lita in the ring. Does so before Lita can answer. Kane's big, dumb, sweaty, bald face pops up on the Titantron screen. Says, hey, Lita, before you answer, why don't you tell... I think you have something to tell Matt. Matt turns around. He's like, what? And then Kane's like, that baby is not yours. It's mine. How do we get to Kane being the babyface here, by the way? Which is where we're going somehow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's where we're at. Obviously, Matt's not happy about it, to put it lightly. But apparently it's also like there's a chance that it could be Matt. So Lita's just taking loads willy-nilly. And that's a whole other thing. I'm not going to get into that. But thoughts? That was a lot, but thoughts?
So my thing is rebooking storylines. And I love to do that. I love to look at small tweaks you can make to things. And as ridiculous as all of this sounds, we've talked about how Kane was kind of, being neutered a little bit. The one small change I make is at WrestleMania, instead of Paul Bearer coming back with The Undertaker, Paul Bearer, aka Kane's father, comes back with Kane and starts the storyline of keeping the family. He wants, Kane, my son, where is my grandson? Because Paul Bearer comes back for The Undertaker. He's there for Judgment Day. And then you saw in person at the Great American Bash, I'm sorry, Paul, I have no choice. And we encase Paul Bearer in cement, and Paul Bearer is written off. And instead of just Kane, because this comes out of nowhere, he goes from challenging Chris Benoit for the world title to like, no, you know what? I want to be champion, but I want a baby more, and I don't take no for an answer. Like, what? This is right there, man. Go for the belt, man.
Hey, that's the second best thing. If you can't win the world title, blow a load in a lady. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That's what I always say.
Oh, okay. You should get that on a bumper sticker.
It is. I sell them. They're $50 a piece. Yeah, I like that though. I mean, that would create logic and long-term story to the equation, which I think WWE is allergic to that. So that is one hindrance. Mm-hmm. But yeah, Paul Bearer maybe turns on Undertaker again. Just might as well keep the tradition going. And that could have been fun. Could have had like a whole faction. Could have been like Kane's minions. Could have been like what'd you call them? What'd you call a Kane-led faction?
The Burn Unit?
Okay. First of all, it upsets me that you clearly have already thought about this, right?
Yes.
You've already made a list of names and ranked them in order from what you like to what you don't like. All right, the Burn Unit, sure. All right, who? Since you have all the answers, who's in the faction?
Shelton Benjamin, because he wasn't doing anything. And
what? That is not what I expected. Okay, sure. Yeah. He wears red sometimes.
Exactly. No, I mean, it would have been interesting to have a stable. The Burn Unit, put La Resistance in there. They're kind of chicken shit heels anyways. They'll follow him along. They saw what he did to Chris Benoit at Bad Blood, and they're like, oh man, this dude can mess us up if we don't listen. And he sets their flag on fire, maybe. and scares the shit out of them, and they just do whatever he says. So how about that?
Oh, but it's like a symbolic burn, but it's also literal because you're burning the Canadian nature of your character. You're burning that, and now what burns grows to ashes. The Phoenix being the burn unit, they lose their accents.
Yes.
They have different names. Sylvain Grenier, no. Sylvain Grand Flame. Rob Conway, no. Rob Chardway, no. Call in if you have better names. Call in if you have better names for the burn unit.
The reason this works too is the WWE actually did hate Canadians at this time. And my proof is on this show, all of a sudden, Chris Jericho, Canadian, is billed as born from Manhasset, New York, I want to say. And then later on, Chris Benoit is billed as now residing in Atlanta, Georgia. None of the Canadians are Canadian anymore. Aside from Resistance.
Right. That's a good point. We're running out of Canadians. It's breaking away from the North American continent. I like that.
But
by the way, the entire
WWE,
I'm thinking of
Backlash and SummerSlam. I think we're in Canada that year.
Well, you could say it's not in Canada. All right, you could say it's in Burnville, USA, or wherever the burn unit's from. By the way, in my head, I'm thinking of this guy from Incredibles. What's his fucking name? Buddy? Or is he in Incredibles 2? He's like the fire guy, I think. I don't know. Somebody will know that reference at home. Somebody is just pumping their fist at that reference. Listening on that. Well, anyways, so now, your baby, my baby, you took my wife's, or you took my girlfriend's womb. How do you solve this? Well, you have a wrestling match. Matt Hardy versus Kane. No DQ. It is no DQ, which I appreciate. Hot start, of course, as it should be. They meet in the aisleway. They're rolling all around the ring. Match itself, it felt like them holding back for a rematch. This whole match. I mean, it was kind of a finish. I don't know how I feel about it. It might be an okay finish, but it's just another Kane loss, though, which, as kind of fluky as it was, it's still a Kane loss, which is why not just have Kane win this? Can he beat Matt Hardy version 1? Guy that was losing to fucking Funaki on SmackDown a few months ago. Can we have him beat Matt Hardy at least? But I guess Lita had her involvement, but I don't know. What'd you make of this?
I thought the match was pretty decent. Like you said, though, you knew there was going to be the rematch. And we won't talk about the stipulation of the rematch, because as ridiculous as this storyline is, it will get more ridiculous as we go along. So we're just gonna look right here. I liked the finish in that it gave Matt a chance. Lita with the distraction, and it went the storyline of she's trying to stop Kane from hurting Matt. That's the only motivation that she has right now. She wouldn't have done any of this otherwise. She loves Matt that much. And that's the tragedy of it, because it's very Shakespearean almost, but
right.
Lita's trying to stop, don't hurt Matt. And it's not really believable. It was just Matt hits the chair into the steps as Kane is holding the steps. And as Kane falls backwards, somehow I guess he hits the steps into his own face. And that's how Matt gets the pin. So like you said, it was a fluky finish just so we can give Matt the win. And honestly, you could have just had Kane chase Lita out. You could have had it no DQ, but still have count out and at least protected him with that. But it was Matt Hardy versus Kane in 04. What did you expect?
Yeah. I don't know. It just didn't feel like it matched the intensity of what this feud was, which it was cut short. Again, maybe we're just prepping for a rematch here. You have Lita getting involved, which makes sense. This one left me a little flaccid, though, I will say. But
actually, I have a great parallel, because we talked about last time I was on with you, Survivor Series 03, Kane versus Shane McMahon. Now, what was Shane's motivation? Kane had tombstoned his mother, and that is why Shane was pissed. And that match, all the matches that Shane had with Kane, you felt that physical intensity of I am desperate to beat you down, Kane, almost the point of death for what you have done. You've ruined my life. And then, like you said,
Mhm.
like Matt Hardy comes running out. Why aren't you? It's no DQ. Come out running with a weapon, like a pike. You want to beat the hell out of Kane. Come out with the lighter fluid, something. Instead, like the weapons were sporadic. Really, that was Matt's only hope, the equalizers. And yet we didn't see a ladder, which is weird for a Hardy's Extreme match. We saw chairs. There were no tables, really. I mean, I think the announce table broke, but that was it. So it seemed actually very tame for a no DQ match.
Yeah, it was. But maybe this is why Lita went and fucked Edge, because Matt Hardy wasn't aggressive enough, not enough weapons. That's my takeaway from this ultimately. So, Matt, you should have been more aggressive. You should have had more fire. Come on.
Yep.
All right. Anyways, we got after. Actually, I have one more question, because you have a girlfriend, right?
Correct. Yep.
Now, let's say, just hypothetically, Kane breaks into your house, right? Wraps a chair around her neck, right? Is threatening to stomp on her neck. But Kane will relent. Kane won't crack her neck if you give yourself to Kane. You have to let Kane impregnate you. Are you doing that?
She's 2 rooms over and she might hear my answer, so I'm going to say yes. Yes, for her sake, I will.
Well, hopefully she doesn't watch this episode. Yeah. It's never a thought you've had until now, and now you're thinking of it, so you're welcome. You're welcome.
That's all I'll think about, that and the burn unit.
Yep. Oh, you're going to have yourself a little burn unit inside you. But speaking of burn units, we have a hot match on deck after that. We have, after all the ridiculousness of Eugene and all the Kane stuff, now we have just a good fucking wrestling match for the Intercontinental Championship. The champion, Randy Orton, defending against Edge. Randy's been, we're in July here of 2004. Randy's been champion since December of 2003. He's the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion of the last 7 years. He's been beating Mick Foley. He's had matches with Shawn Michaels, with who else? Shelton Benjamin, a great match at the last pay-per-view. He's been on a run, both in kayfabe and just like in general. Like he's putting it all together. Edge recently returned, which that's a whole thing too. But this is the one match that I remembered on this show. And I think for good reason, because I think this easily stole the show.
Yeah, this is just, I remember the 13-year-old version of me watching it live. This was obviously to that point the greatest match I'd seen in person. And rewatching it, there were a couple of things I can nitpick now because I'm a smart mark. But when you really get invested in the story, it's Randy Orton. You know now, with hindsight, he's on his way up. It's Edge. You know what he's going to become. And you have these two guys in the mid-card fighting for the belt. And you were talking about intensity in the other match that wasn't there. This match had that intensity. I felt like Edge wanted to beat Orton. I felt like Orton wanted to beat Edge. And it sounds so idiotic in the simplicity of it, but that's what we want. We want people to want to win matches. And we felt that. And the only really thing that annoyed me then and now is Edge runs this way along the ropes, and Randy Orton decides I'm going to run this way along the ropes.
It's fun. They're having fun, Michael.
No, we had fun with Eugene and we had fun with Kane. This was real, damn it. But other than that,
I think that they're trying to like trip each other up. Maybe each guy's trying to pounce the other, but they can't get the timing correct because they're not as good as Monty Brown. That's the story I got from that.
That could be.
But yeah, no, this was it was like a good slow build can be so effective because like I think last time I watched this match, again, I was probably like 13 or whatever. I might have been like bored watching this. It's like, oh, it's a headlock, whatever. Wake me up when the finish comes. But rewatching this with a more, I guess, sophisticated palette of sorts, it's like, no, Randy has like this intensity because he's like, Edge is coming back from neck surgery. So, of course, Randy's going to target the neck. And Randy doesn't just put a chin lock on. He like grabs his arm and then pushes his head away from his arm to yank it. He's like grimacing. He's hunched over. He's trying to rip his head off. Like these like little simple things are like why Randy is so good. Like a lot of people are like, I don't know. I think he's underrated weirdly in a lot of ways. Especially 04 Randy. I think 04 Randy is like, it's crazy to say because it's like right at the start, but I think it's arguably like some of his best work this year.
I think looking back, there's definitely a transitional point with his feud with Foley. He goes from just this cocky prick to he's got that intensity after that hardcore match with Foley. I don't think you would have seen him targeting Edge the way he did back in January or February. He needed to come through that war and really kind of, that's when the Legend Killer became the future legend. And that was such an important moment for him that now we're seeing, especially in this match, why a month later they put the main title on him because he was ready. This was like the last test.
Wow. Yeah, no, for sure. And like, yeah, just the pacing of this, the slow build made the big moments feel impactful. Like Randy just does this like little leg drop on the back of his neck, but it's just so like calculated and like it just felt so impactful. Like all these little things he was doing. But then Randy, he can't put Edge away, so he starts getting desperate. He's removing turnbuckles. He's low blowing. He's rolling Edge up with the tights, like all of the heel tropes he's throwing out there. Edge fights back. Educator for 2. Execution for 2. Top rope crossbody for 2. Like a lot of fun near falls. The crowd was with him at every step of the way. Although I will say though, Edge was getting a good amount of boos.
Yeah, I was just thinking that. At that time, definitely my favorite Raw superstar was Orton, and apparently about half that crowd was with me because rewatching that, I did not remember him getting that good of a reaction and Edge getting booed as often as he did. That blew my mind.
Yeah, I mean, part of to your point, a lot of it's probably Orton's been on a crazy run of good matches, so people are probably starting to respect him a lot. But also Edge, it's like, and he comes back. It's like, who is Edge? Like, he's not, you know. How important do you think music is to wrestlers?
Oh, so important, man. Oh, God. That's the first thing. If you have your eyes closed or you're in the line of concessions, right, and you don't know what match is coming up, you hear the music, you're like, oh my God, that's Saliva. That's Batista coming up. I don't need a hot dog. Right. I'm going to go watch him. That's one of my favorites. You know, The Undertaker, that gone, you know, that slow, methodical music. And we come off where we're recording this now, right off the Royal Rumble. I don't know half the people coming out when the music hits.
Oh, yeah. Me neither.
It's so indistinguishable. And if you look back in 04, I actually hadn't thought about that until you brought this up. I don't remember them having a pay-per-view theme for this one.
I don't know. I think
because 04 you had Puddle of Mud for the Royal Rumble, Nothing Left to Lose. You had Crossing Borders, I think, the Rey Mysterio one for No Way Out. You had WrestleMania was Step Up by Drowning Pool, Eyes Wired Shut for Backlash, Sold Me by Seether for Bad Blood. Like, I remember a lot of these great rock songs. My first exposure to a lot of them was through WWE. And music at that time. I mean, I even, I made sure I got my thematic CD when it came out.
There you go.
Right? We've got Carlito's theme, Evolution's theme, Teddy Long, Eugene's, right? And as soon as you hear these tracks, it brings you back even, right? It's almost like a time capsule.
Yeah, I mean, by the way, Drowning Pool did have the theme for this event, Hate by Drowning Pool.
Oh.
The song Hates. I'm not too familiar with it, but it's obviously dubbed over on Peacock, or whatever the fuck, Netflix. But no, the reason I asked that is because, like, if Edge comes out to Rob Zombie, I feel like he's getting a lot more cheers.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
As silly as it sounds, like, I don't know. I feel like it's just like, you're dumb. He's coming out to the old Edge and Christian music, which is like, it's fine, but it's like, I don't know, man. It just makes him feel like he's reverting back rather than progressing, in my opinion.
Yeah. Also, even when he just came back from the neck injury, like, he had the little rivalry with Kane, and he like immediately, I don't know whether he really got injured, his hand or wrist or whatever, or whether it's just the story, but it's like, man, you come back and then you lose momentum because you got a little bit of an injury. And then, oh, I'm going to go after every member of Evolution. Okay, but where did that really lead after this? He won the IC title, and he's not exactly feuding with Triple H at SummerSlam. He's now just defending the IC title. So it was like you said, who is Edge right now? You know, music-wise, character-wise, who is Adam Copeland? Orton, we know what he is. We don't know what Edge is.
Sexton Hardcastle, or whatever his name was. That might as well be who he is. But yeah, so I mean, you know, Edge is he is kind of getting the crowd behind him though with these near falls, the crossbody off the top. Edge goes for the 10 punches in the corner, but Randy drops him onto that exposed turnbuckle that he ripped up earlier in the match, rolls him up with his foot on the ropes, but amazingly only for 2. Again, Randy is just spamming all of the heel actions, but nothing is putting Edge down. Randy goes for the RKO. Edge counters, shoves him into the corner, preps for the spear. The crowd's coming. And now the crowd wants to see the spear.
Yes.
Crowd's behind Edge, goes for the spear. It was so like he goes for the spear. Randy leapfrogs over him. Edge goes into the turnbuckle. Randy tries to capitalize with an RKO, but then Edge counters that with a backslide for 1-2 kick out. Just great counter wrestling here at the end. And then ultimately Randy gets whipped into that exposed turnbuckle. Edge hits the spear for the 1-2-3. So Randy's exploits ultimately came back to bite him, and Edge wins. He won the crowd over, I think, and also won the Intercontinental Championship. Great match. Great match.
Yes. And I think it was made a little bit better, like we talked about with Jericho and Batista, because Ric Flair had his own stuff. Ric Flair was not in Orton's corner. So again, that was just Orton's presentation. He didn't have, as much as we love Flair, he can be a little bit of a crutch because he's such a big presence. You know, Paul Heyman in Brock Lesnar's corner, you barely notice him there. Ric Flair in Randy Orton's corner, you always knew he was there. And so this let Orton...
Flair's not going to fade into the background. Flair's not just there like quietly standing. He's ripping off his jacket. He's getting on the apron. He's taking bumps. Yeah, that's a great point. But I feel like the show should have just ended there because it kind of tapers off a little bit. Because after that, we got the women's championship on the line. Now look, Molly Holly, Victoria. This is for the number 1 contendership for the women's title. Trish is the champion. I think she's injured at this point, so I guess that's why there's no championship match. Man, the state of the women's division here, dude. It's like they just gave up. I mean, there was a period for a little bit where it was like Trish was champion. She was taking on all comers. She was having like oftentimes pretty short, but like pretty energetic matches on pay-per-view. But there's just like no other characters other than Trish.
Right.
And if you don't have a foil, then just her being the champion by herself, and Lita's obviously busy. So, for a little bit, but yeah, Molly Holly, Victoria, 2 good talents in the ring. But yeah, to say this was heatless would be putting it mildly, I thought.
Yeah, I mean, coming off that great IC title match, you were going to have a crowd that was a little spent anyways, because that was over 20 minutes, that IC title match. So we had a lot of energy invested in that. But then you look at this match, WrestleMania, these 2 women fought, Victoria and Molly Holly, 4 minutes, 52 seconds. Here, 6 minutes, 22 seconds. So they had like an extra minute and a half. And that doesn't seem like much, but in wrestling, like that's enough to tell like a whole extra layer of story, especially in such a short match. Yeah. And so this one, it's just for number 1 contendership. These 2 had a shot at becoming number 1 contenders the Monday before in a triple threat with Nydia. It was like a contract on a pole or something. Nydia won. Trish came out and said, oh, well, the contract says you get your title match when I'm ready. She hits Nydia with the cast, tells the ref, this is the match, pins her, and that's it. And so now it's like, oh, here's the consolation prize, Victoria and Molly Holly. You didn't win the other title shot, so now you could fight for one. There was no story. There was no build. I still don't care now. I didn't care then. I don't care now. I won't care tomorrow, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, I mean, you could have at least had Trish like ringside, maybe have her on commentary, have her do something post match, but there was no like connection between this and the eventual match with Trish. So
And
that
you'd
being
think,
said, though, like the nuts and yeah,
well, I was just gonna say, like, you'd think Molly Holly and Victoria would have heat. Victoria shaved Molly's head at WrestleMania. You just covered that. Like I said, they fought in a shorter match. There should be a little bit of intensity or depth to this, right? At
her hair
least make
still
it a
hasn't grown
grudge
back.
match. Right. She's still wearing a wig in this. Like there's a bare bone story that could be told. And instead, they just tell nothing. And Victoria wins, I think, right? Victoria got the win in this?
Yeah,
I
Molly
don't
could have
remember.
gone for the hair, like, wrap her hair in the ropes and beat her or something,
Right. Get disqualified because you're beating the hell out of her and trying to rip her hair out. At least something that shows passion and intensity in story.
Yeah, I mean, within the match, there was, Molly was working the arm of Victoria, and this ultimately like factored in when Victoria went for the Widow's Peak, but couldn't hold her up because of the arm work. And then she had to improvise and hit a super kick onto Molly, which did look very good, by the way. Molly she sold it like she got shot out of a cannon, just goosh. So actually, I did like the finish to this match, but otherwise, yeah, there wasn't a lot going with this. And then I guess now, yeah, Victoria wins, and now we got Victoria versus Trish. So it is what it is. I mean, I don't know. Victoria as a babyface never really lit for me. Like she's doing this like the Chippendale thing or whatever, where she like rips her pants, or the Cesaro thing where she rips her pants off at the top of the stage and dances. It's like, all right, we're trying something, I guess, but I don't know, man.
I don't remember if this was on the actual show or if it was on Heat, because I'm old school physical media, so I actually like had the DVD, and there was a clip where Victoria's being interviewed before the match, and Steven Richards comes up, and they had been separated now for a while. But when Victoria was, having her big run in '02, she was with Stevie Richards at her side, and now all of a sudden, like, he's there and he's like, oh, I want to wish you luck. There's no hard feelings. And I thought, oh, wow, this is going to play in some way. There's going to be some story here. And I don't remember anything happening with them after that in 2004.
The fact that Stevie Richards is still there in 2004, in late 2004, blows my mind.
Yes.
I hadn't thought about him in this era in a while. That's crazy.
Mhm.
I mean, he'd be a perfect Burn Unit member, by the way. Stevie Richards. Are you kidding me?
Yes, actually.
Raven's Flock into Burn Unit. I mean, just right there.
Dr.
Right there.
Stevie, there you go.
Dr. Stevie. Come on now. But from there, we go on to the main event of the evening. We've kind of been alluding to it. We have the World Heavyweight Championship on the line. You have the champion, Chris Benoit, versus Triple H. A one-on-one match. So they've had a few triple threat matches with Shawn Michaels involved. Now they finally are going one-on-one. I have zero recollection of this match. I did not remember this match happening. We have the ending stuff, the finish. I thought this match was pretty boring. Like I didn't really get invested in this match. I thought the work was solid. Like there was some stuff about this match that I did like. Ultimately, though, it's just like, I don't know, man. It felt like we were just biding time for the inevitable Eugene run-in. So for a lot of reasons, I didn't love this match, but I'm interested to hear your thoughts. What would you think about this one?
This was the first match that I've ever had. I've been a wrestling fan for 25 years now. It's the first old match that I've ever gone back and rewatched, and my view of it completely changed with age. Because 13-year-old me, I was with you. I thought it was very boring. It was slow. We knew Eugene was going to come out. And now I rewatched it, and I'm like, no, man, this is actually why Triple H and Chris Benoit were so good. Because what I thought was slow is actually methodical. Triple H, he was deliberate with what he was doing. He was focusing in on Benoit's chest and everything. And when you just isolate the match before the Eugene stuff, I actually really enjoyed the Benoit Triple H match more than I thought I would. I remembered their Iron Man match more than this one. But this one, rewatching it, there was just one cringeworthy moment. I don't know how you feel about watching Benoit matches. I actually don't have a problem with it. I can separate the character from the man. But like this one, I was like, damn, he was so good and Triple H was so good. And I really actually enjoyed this match.
Yeah, it was, like I said, there was lots, like, dude, these Bret Hart corner bumps that Benoit was taking when he's getting whipped into the corner, sternum first. Whoo-wee. I mean, that's a guy trying to run through a corner post. Like, good googly moogly. And then, yeah, like, he's attacking Triple H's. He's attacking the torso of Benoit, which is the story of the match. He, like, because Triple H will hit a few, like, regular suplexes, and then he transitions into the front suplexes, which, again, the acoustics of these front suplexes were insane. How are they so loud? Like, they just perfectly land on his sternum, or however they like cupped his body to like make like a pop sound. That's a terrible foil or whatever you call it, foley of that sound. But you know, so yeah, methodical is a good way to put it. I mean, Benoit and Triple H, that's kind of their style here. I mean, Benoit fires up at some points, and then Triple H cuts him off. But then you know, Benoit is starting to make his comeback. German suplexes, but there was a one missed headbutt, which might be what you're referring to.
Well, that was one of the two moments. That was one of the two. But yeah, it was just like you were saying when he runs in the turnbuckle, because Benoit did not hold back. If he was going to do something, he was going to do it. And yeah, that headbutt, when he missed it, that was a cringeworthy moment. But the other one I was thinking about was when he goes for, to be sensitive, I'll say he goes for the tope through the ropes. And it has another.
He goes for the hang myself on a lat machine dive.
Yes, well, a little bit more eloquently than you, then I guess I will call it by name. He goes
going for the smother my child suicida or whatever.
The suicide dive, man.
That's crazy. I mean, yeah.
He does a suicide dive, and then Jim Ross starts talking about the irony of that move. And Jim Ross was talking about how, it's ironic because it hurts you as much as his opponent. But now watching it, like anytime after Vengeance 07, now you're going to think, whoa, suicide dive. And Jim Ross is like, oh, isn't that ironic? That was cringy. Just a little bit.
Yeah, that was, it was like if Owen Hart had the rappel from the ceiling power bomb or something. Like, it's so on the nose.
Yeah.
So on the nose. But yeah, because Benoit, he does the dive, and then he goes like back first into the barricade. Yeah, it was wild. It was wild looking. On top of the headbutt, like he misses and he smashes his head on the mat. It's like that dude's probably done that 1,000 times in his life already at this point. It all makes sense. It all makes sense when you go back and watch the tape. My goodness. But yeah, but all of this is happening. At some point, the ref gets knocked down because it is a Triple H world title pay-per-view match. So the ref gets knocked. Triple H hits a DDT on Benoit, and then Trips calls out Eugene. Eugene, come out here. Eugene comes out. And then he doesn't know what he's there for. He's kind of hesitant because he wants to be friends with Benoit. He wants to trust him. But then he also wants to trust Triple H. He's part of Evolution. He's conflicted. Benoit locks in the crossface in the ring. Trips is like, Eugene, or Benoit's like, Eugene, get the ref, because the ref's knocked out. Eugene doesn't know what to do. He doesn't grab the ref. Benoit gets up. He's frustrated with Eugene, and he just clocks him. Which is like, I did not expect that. It was kind of cathartic seeing like, God damn it, Eugene, just do it.
Yeah, and then Kane and JR are trying to cover it up like, oh, well, you didn't know if Eugene was going to come in and attack you on behalf of Triple H. So Benoit was just doing it preemptively. Right. He decked him, man. There's no justification. He could have been like, whoa, Eugene, what are you doing? No. Boom.
Yeah, it could have talked some sense into him. And as we all know, Chris Benoit known for talking sense into people using, calm nature.
Yes.
Woosah. But then Benoit takes advantage, or Triple H takes advantage of the distraction. Low blows Benoit. Pedigree. Beautiful fucking bump, by the way, by Benoit on this pedigree. Just torpedoed to the mat. But the ref is still out. Trips tells Eugene to go get the ref, and then Eugene does this time. Picks up the ref, throws him in the ring. 1, 2, kick out. Oof. Did you think this was it when you were watching live?
I did. The whole storyline was just Eugene helping Triple H win the title, so that false finish did definitely get me.
Yeah, no, it was a tremendous one. Then Triple H tells Eugene to grab him a chair. Eugene grabs the chair, gets on the apron with it, kind of begrudgingly hands it to Triple H. But then when Triple H picks it up to swing it, Eugene takes it back. He's having second thoughts, trips, gets pissed, shoves Eugene off the apron, takes the chair. Benoit comes back with like a flying whatever the hell to knock Triple H down. I don't know. I think it was a running headbutt to the chair.
Like
I don't know what he was trying to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it all makes sense. But Benoit grabs the chair. Ric Flair comes out. Batista comes out. Benoit does these weird like Hulk Hogan chair shots where he just like runs. Now all of a sudden we're protecting people's heads, Chris.
Yeah.
But whatever. Yeah, Evolution gets knocked out. And then Eugene gets in the ring to what does he do? Triple H. There's just so much shit happening. I was trying to take notes of everything. At some point, Benoit gets knocked down. Both guys are knocked down. I think they both low blow each other. And then Eugene is the only one standing in the ring, and Eugene grabs the chair. He's in between them. It's like who's it's this moment of who do I side with, and then the crowd's with him, man. He's like, because Eugene lifts this chair, goes over to Benoit, and they're like, no. And then Eugene goes over to Triple H. He's gonna maybe I'll hit you, and the crowd's like, no, and he keeps doing that back and forth, and then he's just like, every time it gets more amplified, the pop does, and then Eugene can't bring himself to hit either of them. And Benoit gets up, tries to grab the chair from Eugene. And we have like a tug of war situation. Benoit lets go. Eugene pulls the chair away from him and accidentally hits Triple H in the head with the chair, by God. And then Chris Benoit with a schoolboy for the 1, 2, 3, capitalizing on this errant chair shot from Eugene. Benoit retains, and it's all Eugene's fault. Well, I hope he better be careful when he shows up to Raw on Monday. And I'll tell you what. Great stuff, I thought.
Like I said, Eugene was so over during that period. And I remember vividly him with the chair in that moment. And us saying, no, don't hit Benoit. And then when he goes over to Triple H, yes, hit him. And again, though, that was to the detriment of Benoit's title reign. And there's a reason why Chris Benoit only had that one reign, because they chalk it up as a failure, right? He wasn't getting the reactions. But no, just for some odd reason, you found lightning in a bottle with Eugene, and he was the most over guy. It doesn't mean Benoit was bad. We were invested in the Benoit match and the Benoit reign. It's just Eugene was this compelling character that there was an unpredictability to it. Because even, just watching it, he could have hit Benoit and side with Triple H, or he could have, this is a pay-per-view. So maybe this is the moment where he has his moment, says, no, Triple H, you pushed me down. And he hits Triple H, like the Sami Zayn to Roman Reigns. Imagine that. It's the same level somehow, of how much can he take. And when Sami turned on Roman, that's exactly what it would have been if Eugene hit Triple H with that chair that night. That is how passionate that fan base was in that arena.
Yeah, I mean, I never really thought about it, but Sami Zayn is kind of the modern day Eugene.
I didn't
they even kind of look
like that.
They kind of look alike a little bit. Like if you just like kind of like look really quickly and look away, the same person. The raggedy hair and a lot of things. Yeah. But no, yeah, genuinely though. I mean, I'll just say it. I mean, Eugene was the hottest thing going at this point, and yeah, that would have been. I don't totally remember how this plays out. I think him and Triple H have a match at SummerSlam, right?
Yeah. So real briefly, the next night, Evolution turns on Eugene. They beat him up, and then Triple H gets a rematch with Benoit. It's the Iron Man match I talked about earlier that I remembered more than this match. And Eugene returns and costs Triple H on purpose that match. And that's what leads to Triple H saying to Bischoff, give me Eugene at SummerSlam.
Cinema. That's cinema right there, man. You know what? Fuck it. Bring Eugene back. I said don't do it today. Bring him back. Let's get it. Do it with the bloodline this time. Do it with Roman Reigns and Triple H's spot. Run it back. Who's with me? Yes. I could hear him.
No. Have you ever listened to Nick Dinsmore's podcast? Or his YouTube?
I have not. No.
He was over. We've said that. He was so over. but he really thinks he was like the most important figure in wrestling history somehow. And hearing him retell these stories, he was talking about how it was only a great storyline because his acting and his dramatic acting of he was able to recall something. And those were real tears Eugene was crying at ringside at Vengeance because he really felt it. And that's what made Eugene just so great. It's definitely worth listening to a couple times as you're reliving the Eugene timeline.
Interesting. Well, I feel like that would make me dislike Eugene. So I'm not going to do that. Although we can, as we could separate the person from the art from the artist, just like Benoit, Eugene, kind of the same thing when you really think about it. So, but that brings Vengeance 04 to a close. Again, just this exceeded my expectations. I didn't really have a lot of expectations going into it, but I thought all in all, this was a pleasurable watch. One of the better Raw exclusive pay-per-views, I would say. Vengeance was.
I definitely agree. And it's because, like we said, there was story throughout, right? You had Eugene playing out through it. Evolution they all had a match. So you kept telling that story. Evolution was all over this pay-per-view, and Eugene was all over this pay-per-view. And right in the middle, as stupid as it was, you had the Kane, Lita, Matt Hardy story, which was just pure wrestling craziness. And so there was never a dull moment on this card, apart from the women's match, which we talked about, but like even the opener, we were talking about how that was exciting, and he just kept going through. You had a couple great matches snuck in there. I think it was probably one of my top shows looking back of 04. And I hadn't rewatched it since I had been there live.
Yeah, no, it was good stuff, but something else that's good stuff. It's Booking Like a Mark. Appreciate you once again hopping on the show, talking some old wrestling. Where can everybody find you, taste you, listen to you, look at you, taste you again, all that stuff?
Well, we're going to be coming back for season number 3 over the summer. It's celebrating the 25th year of the Invasion storyline. So we are going to spend the whole season rebooking the Invasion.
That deserves its own season.
Yes.
Let's see here. Trying to think who should hopefully there's more meat. Sean Stasiak. I think he was underutilized.
I'll give you a little preview. I would put him as the stalker instead of DDP.
I mean, meat standing out of the window going through Undertaker's wife's panties.
Right?
Meat.
Especially the way that they were going to have the stalker just DDP got his ass kicked by everyone, by Undertaker, Kane, and Undertaker's wife. So Vince was already pissed at Sean Stasiak for spilling the beans on a little bit of WrestleMania behind the scenes stuff. Put him in that death spot. Put DDP in a more prevalent role. Have him come in with big gold belt. Big gold belt. What I just said, Jesus.
I know when you're in the presence of such a prestigious title, you get a little tongue-tied. I understand. Yes. I understand. Well, why don't you take us out with the burn unit? They would cut a promo and then they would have like one stinger line to close it out. What would they say? Go.
I think they would say, ladies and gentlemen, take some time out of your day. Go back, Apron Bump podcast. He covers all these different timelines.
Where's the end?
Okay.
Where's the ending recording?
Okay. He covers Kane's debut.
Once again, thank you to Marquise for hopping on the program, talking a little Vengeance 2004. Go follow Mark wherever you follow people. Go listen to the Booking Like a Mark podcast, wherever you listen to podcasts. All of his info is in the description. Go check him out. Check me out at Apron Bump on all the social medias. Join the Discord. Slap me on the face, spit in my mouth, call me a dirty little whore. Do all of those things. And the burn unit. Applications for the burn unit. File those with Booking Like a Mark at gmail at AOL.com. Do all those things. And with that, I'll bid you adieu. That's all Daddy has for you guys today. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Love ya. Big smooches all over that face of yours. Mwah, mwah. I'm hard.
Yeah. It's the hardest. Talk around and disregard it. Sweep you off the ground, show you what heart is. Standing strong and proud, nothing can knock it. Let's get it started. It's the hardest. Talk around and disregard it. Sweep you off the ground, show you what heart is. Standing strong and proud, nothing can knock it. Let's get it started.